Episode 10. Grandpa admits I was wrong. The next morning, you stepped into the lighthouse lightly. It wasn't a perfect morning. It was just one where you didn't rush to be anything other than what you were. Grandpa was already on the steps as usual, but today he wasn't sitting straight like a soldier. He was sitting straight like a man trying to be dignified without being rigid. You smiled. "Good morning." Grandpa lifted his mug. "Good morning. No rules attached." You laughed softly. I stayed beside you and the lighthouse blinked slowly, like a small sign that we were in the right rhythm. Then Grandpa stood and said, "I want to do something." You raised your eyebrows. "What?" Grandpa took a step toward the shelf. Not fast, not dramatic, with respect. He stopped in front of the white bowl. You stayed still for a moment, attentive, not to control him, but so you wouldn't startle him. Grandpa looked at the glittering stones. Then he murmured, "They look like fragments." You nodded. "Yes." Grandpa held his hand above the bowl and froze, as if he suddenly remembered his old impulse. "Don't take, don't touch, don't get it wrong." I said to him calmly, "If you take one, you take it gently, not to judge it, to understand it." Grandpa swallowed and did exactly that. He picked up a single small stone, tiny, jagged, catching a spark only from a certain angle. He held it in his palm and stared at it for a long time, like he was looking at something that wasn't allowed to exist. You whispered, "It's mine." Grandpa nodded slowly. "I know." Then he said something that made your heart tighten and settle at the same time. "I used to call this weakness." You went quiet. Grandpa continued, his voice low. "Because it shines. And when something shines, it can be seen." You inhaled deeply. I stayed calm beside you so it wouldn't become too much all at once. Grandpa closed his fingers around the stone just a little, then opened them again, like a man learning not to clench. "But," he said softly, "I was wrong." You blinked fast. Grandpa looked at you. Not severe, not above you, just, as it's honest. "That isn't weakness," he said. "That's truth." A full silence followed. You felt like crying again, but it was a warm kind of tear. The good kind. "Yes," you whispered. Grandpa looked at the little stone again, and for the first time, he let the corner of his mouth lift, very subtly, like a man who doesn't know how to be tender, but is trying. "It's small," he murmured. You laughed under your breath. "And?" Grandpa raised the stone slightly. "Small truths build stable places," he said, as if he'd discovered it right then. I said softly, so it would settle into the story. "That's how the lighthouse gets built." Grandpa set the stone back in the bowl, very slowly, like something sacred. Then he said almost shyly, "Can I say it the right way?" You nodded. Grandpa drew in a breath and spoke, slowly like an oath. "Here, you don't have to hide your shine." You felt your lip tremble a little, and you answered simply, "Thank you." Grandpa straightened at once, trying to reclaim his dignity. "Approved," he murmured, but his voice wasn't a stamp anymore. It was protection. The lighthouse blinked slowly. The sea moved in its quiet way, and none of your glittering stones were seen with shame anymore. All of them were, at last, truth.